For you. Does having children make people happier?
Most research from the past 2 decades has suggested parents are slightly less happy than those who don't have kids, who have less pull on their time and resources.
But new research finds an important twist in that. It's not the kids, it's the cost of raising them. UW-Madison professor and author, our regular guest, Christine Whelan, is back with us. Christine, good to see you.
Good to be back.
This is fascinating. Basically, it's having children makes people happier if you can afford it.
Yeah,
are we reading that right?
So the long-standing kind of conventional wisdom in social science was that a couple starts out quite happy and then takes a major dip in happiness at the birth of the first child and doesn't really fully recover until the kids are out of the house. But now then of course we asked, well then why do people have kids? If we know that it's going to make us, less happy, why do we do it? There had to be a kind of confounding issue there. And so now new research is showing that children bring us a lot of happiness. As long as we can afford to raise them, and as long as we can juggle that work-life balance that often doesn't even exist for most families.
Does that ever come into the equation, though? People thinking of starting a family, can we afford it? No. Okay, we're going to wait. Is that realistic?
Yes, increasingly it does. So increasingly we're seeing couples wait longer to get married to make sure that they're financially solvent, and then make decisions about children based on economic factors. You see a lot of fluctuation with the birth rates based on that. Yet, of course, then when you have the children, sometimes we underestimate how much work they're going to be, and we also don't often think about the really big sticker cost of raising kids.
Which
for an
gets
average,
more expensive all the time.
It is. It's about $250,000, almost $250,000 for a middle-class family to raise a child from birth to 18, and that doesn't even include college.
There's different kinds of happiness, too, right?
Indeed. So there's 2 kinds of happiness, according to Aristotle, right? He talks about hedonic happiness and eudaimonic happiness. So hedonic happiness is happiness in the moment, things that really feel good and are just fun.
Like eating brisket.
Like eating brisket. I can't wait to get my slice. That will be hedonic joy, right? But then there's eudaimonic happiness. And eudaimonic happiness is that sense of a life well lived, and that you've sacrificed and you've built the relationships and really put a lot of effort into a life of meaning, right? Now, children can bring a lot of hedonic happiness in the moment here and there, but mostly having kids, raising a family is a eudaimonic effort. So you sit around the Thanksgiving table and you look around and you say, yes, I was probably just having a fight with them in the kitchen a minute before, but now I realize we're all around the table and we are a family. We've worked really hard to get here.
So what do you think is the moral of this research? What is the question that it leaves you with, that you need to factor in whether you can afford to have kids before you have them?
Yeah, and a lot of this research is coming out of Europe and Italy and France, and they're saying, listen, it's all about social services, and it's all about providing people with the support that they need, especially in places like Italy where they're trying to increase the birth rate. There's a wonderful researcher, Jennifer Glass, at the Council of Contemporary Families, a colleague of mine, and she's showing the same thing here in the United States. So really, it's about making sure that you have a support system. It's about changing our laws a little bit and getting some paid family leave, for example. And it's also about recognizing the costs, both in terms of time and money, that the kids are going to put on, and a strain on the relationship, and trying to minimize that so you can enjoy all those joyful moments, too.
Are the second and third children, if there are some, are they cheaper than the 280? Because
nope.
No,
they're not.
They're not.
Well, you know what, you can, so I had this with my daughters. I thought that there would be hand-me-downs, but they ended up being the same size. So no, I don't get economies of scale.
There's no,
I am really working
discount.
on that.
No discount for multiple kids.
And what about different kinds of parents? Did the research look at single parents, step parents?
Yes, so it is. It gets much more complicated with more complicated parenting structures, right? So this is for kids who are the biological kids of both the parents.
Okay.
And that's what this research is looking at. And the news gets even more complicated and difficult when you have blended families and single moms, and life is challenging, but these children they bring us such joy, and so we want to kind of shatter that conventional wisdom that kids are the problem. In fact, it's all of the stressors around them, and when we mitigate that, maybe we can really embrace the joy of family life even more.
And I think women don't talk enough about how hard it is in the beginning. It is such a miracle and such a blessing, but it is so hard, and women are afraid to talk about that because, I don't know, maybe you feel like it makes you
guilty,
or makes you look weak or something.
And,
yeah.
and actually, it's women who take the biggest happiness hit when with children, much more so than men. And so, yes, we all need to talk about it. We have to have more of a national conversation, and a national conversation about how to fix it, because really this is not only an individual problem, this is a larger societal problem that we need to look at.
The research is fascinating.
Yeah, interesting
it really
research.
Is.
Christine, thanks for being with us
great
today.
to see you.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you next time.
I will see you soon.
We'll have a final check of your forecast coming up.